Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 13th of May. So starting looking at the euro dollar first, and well, we've continued to try and push upwards. We're putting higher lows in largely more recently, but run into that daily 50 once again. And the question really is can we just carry on pushing? With no trade deal done with China, I do wonder if it will have a softening effect on the US dollar for now. We'll see. But technically, well, we've had the rejection at that daily 50, and it's really a case of can it form any sort of platform from where it's sitting. It's sitting on the 4-hourly 200. Can it form a platform here and start pushing up more and break that level, and even running up towards last week's highs there? See if we can push back in towards this sort of 1268 sort of area. Short term, well, we're sitting around its daily pivot at the moment, the pushing back up towards Friday's high at 1250 would be well, a starting point, I guess. We do have the weekly pivot below us, which might be a draw if we start selling, so maybe, well, it's not going to give much in the way of points if we waited for a break of the 60-minute 50, but I'm sure we could draw a trend line from the lows there on Thursday through to the lows this morning and look for a break of that on the downside. At the moment, it's just a bit of patience. There's very little in the way of news due out today. We've already had Aussie dollar news out there from the Reserve Bank of Australia, Assistant Governor speaking. We've got an FOMC speaker at 10 past 2 this afternoon, and that's about it. So it's going to be a quiet day on the Western Front, I guess. Well, we'll see what happens. As I said, maybe here if it starts breaking downwards, we'll look for the weekly pivot, maybe a bit more the S1 there. If it starts pushing up, well, post 8 o'clock, we'll look for the upside into towards Friday's highs, Thursday's highs, and maybe some more from that. Okay, let's get on, have a look at the pound dollar. So pound dollar, it's been doing quite the opposite here, selling off, low highs, low lows in the main. Friday, well, maybe a bit of a reversal day. Did actually pitch up a slightly higher high amongst all of that intraday, but at the moment still looking quite soft. It's inversion here in terms of the weekly pivot sits above, so any move push up, any joyous moves out there, which I think are going to be few and far between, may run us back towards that 4-hourly pivot there, and last week's highs. Oh, sorry, last week's highs wasn't last week's highs at all. Probably Friday's highs. That'll be it. Opposite way of that, looking at it, a break towards the low side, I'd be trading down towards the S1, and Thursday's lows there towards that sort of area. Looked like it was going to roll over again on Friday. Didn't quite do that. It rallied in the end, run up towards the R1 side. We'll just be careful to see what it does this morning. You should let it show its hand. At the moment, it's just running sideward. No absolute direction there for the moment. Dollar yen. Well, we saw a bit of a reversal coming through on Friday after a rather solid downward week, actually. Looking from here, again the weekly pivot above, which could be a target if we see it soften. Bit of divergence kicking through on the 4-hourly picture here. Bit of double divergence. Well, actually, I don't know if it actually did a proper divergence there on Friday where it came down low enough. But either way, the price action reacted to those prior lows there. It's only just run into its 4-hourly 50 and reversed. Now we have the weekly pivot above, which might be a draw. It may just start doing things here. Let's just have a look and see. Yeah, we've got MACD divergence. If it was a proper low there, I'd have to have a look at that a bit more detail. But it's we may see a bit of a correction here. It's a little bit gappy at the moment. Maybe if there is that gap there, If it were to break, the daily pivot today and start looking a bit more bullish, then the weekly pivot R1 may become a target to the upside. Simple really, that one. Otherwise, look at the lows here. If it starts breaking down, well, we could see new lows put in. That's the dollar yen, but there is that divergence, which is just weakness of the downside, so more likely to bounce. Aussie dollar, not a lot happening good for the Aussie dollar, with the trade talks not particularly showing any chance of working. I was looking through, I haven't seen the effect on the GDP of Australia, but certainly South Korea, it's expected to be a 0.3 change, or quite a big change if it continues as it is. It's for the following year, so I'm sure it'll have a knock-on effect elsewhere unless it's dealt with, because of Australia being a major partner and supplier of China. Looking at where we are, well, it's just from this 4-hourly lower highs, lower lows, really might largely actually may not have been during mid last week, but either way, it looks to me like it's wedged itself out, and looks like more downside possible. We have got the daily pivot above, but already hit the S1. I think we may just see it just trickle down and continuation there, but probably slow and not a lot more movement there. Canadian dollar. Well, it's chopped all of last week. It seemed to be chopping one way or the other. It pitched up through, pitched down through. It's now bouncing again here, again more softening. All in all, it looks like it may just end up being quite range bound there. It's running back into the resistance of the trend line. It's not really reactive. It's had a minor reaction to that in the previous 4 hours, but it looks like it wants to carry on pushing on through. So I would expect from this that we could just see a continuation of the upside, maybe towards today's R1 there, maybe more. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'll have a quick look at the S&Ps, what we're up to there. Quite a reversal we saw on Friday there. It was the more bullish sort of speakers towards the end of Friday's day there, but a deal's not been done. It suggested that there's still scope to do a deal, but I think that might be a short-lived rally, and well, it already has. It's gapped down. We may see that gap filled at some point here, but it does really look a bit soft and weak and slow at the moment. So really looks like we may just see a continuation to the downside. Right, that's pretty much it for me. I wish you a great day. As I said, very little in my news today. It's just speakers. So I wish you a great one. Bye for now.